Hey guys, Ronnie Calhoun here with Miss Lou Champion Spotlight. Got my buddy Rick Greene in the studio today. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Ronnie.
Man, I appreciate you driving in from Monroe to spend a little time with us this afternoon.
It's my pleasure.
So Rick is a former LSU Tiger. You LSU fans out there may remember Rick from closing out the 1991, which was the first College World Series for LSU. And against who was that?
That was Wichita State.
Wichita State. And then now you're with a company called Moxey helping small businesses grow their revenue.
That's correct. Yeah.
And that's what we'll talk a little bit about today. But tell us a little bit about yourself first and kind of how you became a Tiger.
Well, I grew up in Miami. Both my parents went to the University of Georgia. So I was born a Gator hater, which actually, went into my LSU days as well. So I was in line with that. But Skip Bertman, who is the legendary head coach at LSU, is also from Miami.
Yep.
So long story short, my high school coach played at the University of Miami when Skip was an assistant there. It came time for recruiting, and I was a senior in high school, and I wanted to go to a big school. Miami was a heavy recruiting me. I lived very close to campus. I wanted to go to either Florida State, Mississippi State, Georgia, or a big school. None of them had scholarships. And then my high school coach said, "Why don't you look at LSU?" My dad and I flew up to Baton Rouge. The players recruited me, and the coaches and the boosters and the fans recruited my dad. And we got back on the plane, and I just said, "This seems like a great fit for me." And it really, really worked out. My dad has made tons of friends there that he still stays in touch with and goes on cruises and vacations with. They accepted him into their LSU family the same way they did me, and had a great 3 years there, and a lot of lasting memories and a lot of great times that I spent there.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I'm a Tiger. We've talked about it, but I'm a Tiger myself. I didn't quite make the impact that you made on the Tiger Nation, but I was a Tiger. And then you went on to play. Did you play a little bit in the Olympics?
So 1992 was my junior year, and we that was the year the Olympics were in Barcelona.
Okay.
So they had an Olympic tryout in Tennessee, and then they had a summer-long kind of tryout throughout the summer before they went to Barcelona. And they started out with about 40 players and whittled it down to about 20. And I just happened to have a really good summer, pitched a lot. We went to Cuba and played against them, and wound up making the team. And we finished fourth, which always stings a little bit. And I also tore my ACL in the Olympics. But, everything kind of happens for a reason. Had surgery. I had been drafted by Detroit and pretty much knew I wasn't going to go back to LSU for my senior season. So signed with Detroit and started my pro career that lasted 10 years, and got to meet, tons of people, make great relationships, 2 short stints in the big leagues. No regrets and nothing bitter about that situation ever, and had a fantastic career, and just truly blessed on that aspect for sure.
And you play with the Reds, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So I made it to the big leagues in 1999 with the Reds for a very short time. Played in AAA for about 4 years all over the country, got to travel and go to different countries and meet different people and experience things that a lot of people just don't get to do.
Yeah.
So still stay in touch with a lot of baseball friends, and a lot of reunions, and a lot of memories, and a lot of things that, like I said, very blessed that I've lived a couple of different lifetimes with the things that I've been able to do. So I'm super blessed.
That's super cool, man. Who were some of the guys on that early team? I think I was just getting into high school on that first championship, and I'm trying to think back of who some of the guys were on that team.
So
how long had Skip been there also?
So Skip got there in 84.
84, okay.
89 was a big year for LSU. They had Ben McDonald, Russ Springer, and Curtis Laskanik, who all played multiple years in the big leagues. Their last year was 89, so they lost a lot of, innings, and they lost a lot of starting pitchers. On that team in 1990, which was my freshman year, they had Chad Auger, Paul Bird, John O'Donohue, Lyle Mouton, Gary Email, Rich Cordani, Armando Rios,
Yeah.
um, Andy Sheets played time, had some big league time. So we kind of had this hodgepodge of players that were a little experienced, a little rookie, a little young, some youth. Um, and 1990, we did get to the World Series, but we didn't win. We won two and lost two. 91 with just a couple of little tweaks, just losing some seniors and some eligibility guys. We just had a real good team. You know, we had a good meld. We won the SEC in 1990 and 1991, and went through the regionals in 91. Didn't lose a game. Got to Omaha and basically just beat people to death with home runs. Really didn't need much pitching back then, but
Made your job a little easier, huh?
made our job a little easier. Chad pitched into the eighth inning in the championship game. I was the closer. He handed me the ball and said, "Hold the rope." The story is, you know, pretty famous. And
Yeah.
I got the last six outs, and we dogpiled, and we were the first. And it's you know, really special. And talk to the guys a lot about that, and have great memories. Off of that team, there was a lot of big leaguers, but then there were a lot of guys that never played in the big leagues. We just had a great unit. Didn't make but one error in four games, so our defense was solid. Pitching was, you know, always there. Mike Sorotka was another guy.
Yeah,
Um,
y'all had
we had a real
some
good
talent.
staff. We had
Yeah.
a very talented group of people, and it really was a culmination of a lot of things. The '89 team beat A&M in College Station, and A&M was 55-5 at the time. It was a culmination of all the teams before us that had worked hard and worked on the field and sold tickets and dressed up and went to the basketball games, and every bullpen catcher, or every manager, or
Hmm.
every person involved with the organization really was a part of that 1991, you know, eclipse, or whatever you want to call it, that we were on top of the college baseball world. And Skip had always made sure we knew that
Yeah.
it was the guys before us, it was the bullpen catchers, it was the guys keeping the charts,
Hmm.
and the guys that were not always the stars. It was the guys that came in late in the game for a pinch hit, or a mop up guy that was pitching in a blowout. So um, I think in reality, everybody on that team felt like they had a role if they were a star or a program guy or just number 35 on the roster. So we still have that camaraderie and that feeling, like even though you weren't on in the newspaper or on the cover of the program
Hmm.
every week, that you were still part of that organization. And it's really cool to see and reminisce about that.
And that's easier said than done. To build a program, to build a team like that where everybody feels special, whether it be business or anything else. That's really a lot easier said than done. So you
Yeah.
were telling me at dinner one night that Skip is a great motivator, huh?
He's a tremendous motivator. He remembers everybody's name. You know, he was real big on none of the ball players lived on campus. He wanted everybody to live in an apartment with a roommate, set up your bank account, you know, figure out how to pay your bills, get your Entergy, you know, signed up, pay the deposit, go to the store and get some artwork and put on your walls and make it feel like a home, and really treated us like men. And you know, he wanted to make sure that everybody knew how to live their life instead of using LSU as a crutch, or the academic advisor is, you know, instead of saying just plan my, you know, my schedule to for you to do that. And that was a big deal. And he used motivation in so many different ways, of whether it's Roger Bannister breaking the 4 minute mile, or a POW that survived for years in a camp, people that had to overcome way more things than playing a baseball game. So he was very good at directing how we should, you know, motivate ourselves and what we should do to kind of help us get to a certain point in our life. And he was masterful at it. And anybody can teach you how to play the game or catch a ball, but motivating is a huge deal, whether to pat him on the back or give him a little bump in the behind. So
Yeah.
he's a master at doing that, and getting the finding maybe the diamond in the rough athlete, and making them into a better, not only athlete but a better person.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, not everybody is going to go play professionally, but we've got doctors and attorneys and scientists and actors and people that are impactful in this world that played underneath Skip and never played a minute of professional athletics. And that's a big deal to him, to see all these people become great humans, great parents, great fathers, community leaders, and things like that.
A lot
And
more important than
a
baseball.
lot more
Yeah.
important than baseball.
Yeah. And you were on the, if I'm not mistaken, you were on the little SEC network uh, show that they did about Skip.
The rope show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
It was really neat. He had about 90, the producer had about 90 former players come in and speak and tell a certain part of the story and their little part of the Skip Bertman story. And everybody has a different perspective or a different way of listening to how Skip would motivate you. And it was really a great collaboration of what Skip meant to not only to Louisiana and Louisiana State, but also to the conference, but also to when he was athletic director and as a business person, and really doing a lot of things to help LSU get to a certain level that they are now.
Yeah. I mean, really, him and a couple of other guys, the Mississippi State guy that was coach back then.
Ron Polk.
Yeah, Polk. From my understanding, they kind of changed college baseball.
And so he learned from Ron Frazier in Miami, who did certain things like, a tuxedo dinner on the field. And he brought in this mascot, the Miami Maniac, and made it sold family, season tickets for $100 for all the games.
Yeah.
And made sure, that it was a family atmosphere and it was an entertainment. When Skip got there, he had a yellow pad of paper, just like you have on yours, and had all the things that he wanted to do while he was there or before he started. And some of them were immediate and some of them took a while to scratch off the list, but he didn't want anybody to ever come up to him and say, hey, there's no towels in the bathroom. He wanted to make sure that the coffee was hot on the cold nights, and he wanted to make sure that the hot dogs were fresh, and make it an experience. And what he did was an amazing feat, coming into Baton Rouge as an outsider, and doing all these things, and just convincing people that this is the way it should be done. And if you circle back around, his system of baseball is the same as it is in business. Is when you buy into the system as a player or an employee or whoever, and you follow these certain rules over time and you do things consistently and correctly, that things will absolutely come to pass.
Yeah.
The way you dream is the way you set your goals, and the way you do all these things. If you keep doing them, they will absolutely come to pass. So that's a big deal.
The process sounds like another coach
Absolutely.
We had at one time.
Yeah.
On the other side, on the other field.
Trust the process.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of business and everything, you're with a company called Moxey, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I want you to tell me a little bit about what led you to Moxey and what intrigued you to want to be with Moxey.
Well, one of my good friends, who was actually a Batgirl when I was at LSU, was a member of the Moxey Network down in Baton Rouge, and she's talked about it all the time. Talked about how she utilized it to help her with her business and her personal life, and just raved about it. And a few years ago in 2017, I was looking for a new job. I was teaching and athletic director at a small Episcopal school in Monroe, and wound up moving to Baton Rouge and working for the Moxey Network down there, basically to kind of cut my teeth.
Yeah.
And learn about it and figure out all the processes and become, proficient in it. And in October of 2017, the bosses of Moxey knew that I lived in Monroe and I was commuting back and forth, and said, look, our Monroe network kind of needs a director. We know you live there. It's it's a good network, but we just need someone to manage it. And I took it over. And God bless, and a lot of hard work and a lot of people that trusted me, and we've grown it into something that's really cool. And I tell you, other than playing in the big leagues, it's the most fun I've ever had. I don't feel like I'm ever working.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there trying to help people, and it's a great feeling.
Well, I reached out to you a while back because, like I said, I was having a conversation with those guys, and And Mr. Sam Weems, he was telling me, he was going on and on about it, and he's like, "We got to get you, we got to get y'all together, we got to get y'all together, and this and that." And he's Waterfront Grill. Everybody knows Waterfront Grill in Monroe. He's been
Hmm.
there for a long time, and he's like, "I've been with them for 20 years, and this and that." And he just kept on and on. He's like, "I got to get y'all together." So I said, "Well, let's do it then. Let's." So I called you, and you came down and kind of we went to dinner, and you told me more about it, and I was like, "Wow, I really like this." So now you're partners on our show,
Absolutely,
and
and it's there's an element uh, of familiarity, of course, with people and their networks.
mm-hmm,
Um, Ronnie Calhoun has a different network than I do. You have a different network than Dustin, and you have
yeah,
a different network than Sam
mm-hmm,
and Shane Gray and Tom Granning, and everybody's got their own network. But when
yeah,
our networks collide and we can benefit each other without really doing a whole lot of different stuff, then it really becomes this perfect storm.
mm-hmm,
So when Sam tells you about the Moxie network, he's he's basically saying, I like you and I want to help you.
yeah,
And so we really rely heavily on referrals because there are thousands of people, even in Monroe, that I don't really know yet. But
yeah,
I probably have a friend that knows a friend. So now
mm-hmm,
you're talking 1 or 2 degrees of
yeah,
separation. Um, in this area, you're going to know way more people than I know. And the reality is, it doesn't matter if you're in Natchez or Vidalia or Faraday or Des Moines, Iowa. If I
yeah,
can help you as an emerging business with this Moxie network, then it just makes sense. So for Sam and the guys to tell you about me means a lot in the fact that they entrusted me to kind of help you do certain things that you may not known you could have done.
yeah. And that's what I told them. I said, "Look, man, I normally I get told a lot of stuff every day, and I get a lot of things thrown at me. But what stood out to me was how successful all of those guys are. And Mr. Tom Granning, somebody that I really respect, and I was like, well, it's just brand new in the Miss Lou, and he was the first one. Both of his businesses, and then Sam's telling me, oh, I've been with him for 20 years in Monroe and this and that. So I'm like, well, these guys are a lot smarter than me, so maybe I want to listen to him.
Yeah.
Well, why not sit down and hear what he's got to say? So that kind of intrigued me. So why don't everybody probably right now is going, what is Moxie? What is it? So tell us a little bit about what is Moxie, how it works, and how it can benefit small business owners in the Miss Lou.
So Moxie is really two things. It is a network of, I don't like to use the word small, I call them emerging businesses,
Okay.
emerging local businesses. And it's also a currency. Okay. So the concept or the product that we provide is the concept of barter or trade, which has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years and still to this day is done by millions and millions of people. So the original concept is, hey, Ronnie, I'm Rick. We've known each other for years. You have a product, I have a product. Let's just trade back and forth. And that happens all the time.
Yeah.
The concept of Moxie, what we've done is it's money with an X factor, is to say, hey, Ronnie, I'd like to do business with you, but you may not want to do business directly back with me. So I'm going to pay you this currency for XYZ product and service that you provide.
Mm-hmm.
Now it lends an immediacy to it to say, I've got Moxie dollars that I could use at restaurants, at veterinarians, at automobile places, get a new windshield, get T-shirts printed up, go buy a pink tie when I need to do that.
Yeah.
All these things that are
Go on a vacation.
go on a
Yeah.
vacation.
Go to a condo in Destin,
Absolutely.
wherever they may be.
Pigeon
Yeah.
Forge,
Yeah.
condos, and
Yeah.
on the beach. So really, it's a local currency, for lack of a
Mm-hmm.
better term, and the process is extremely simple. I go by three P's. The product is the network of bartering. It's been around forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's widely accepted and widely used. The process is extremely easy in the sense of I walk into Wardo's and I pull out my Moxie card the same way I'd pull out cash or credit,
Mm-hmm.
and they run it on a machine just like they would normally do. There's
Yeah.
nothing new they have to do. So the process of getting signed up and getting Moxie dollars is extremely simple. And then the last is people. P. The third P is the people that I get to deal with, people like you and Sam and all these local business owners that are entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
that are probably not multimillionaires, but just enjoy being a part of their community. And they eat, sleep, and live and shop local.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal for me, that I get to see businesses expand. Sometimes they close. People having babies and people getting married,
Yeah.
and going through funerals, and just doing certain things, that watching businesses emerge in a network is really satisfying to me. I tell people all the time, look, I'll tell you to join Moxey because that's my company.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to go ask someone that has nothing to do with me, but get a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Ask someone, well, what does it entail? And is there a monthly fee? And what do I have to do? Call our CPA, or call one of our people that's in the network to say, give me the lowdown. Like, I know what Rick's going to tell me, but I want to get it from you. So I always tend to look for a mutual friendship of people to say, Ronnie, I'd love for you and Melissa to join this network,
Mm-hmm.
but Ronnie, you do it first. I want you to feel it and see it and play with it and
Yeah.
touch it. And then a month or two down the road, if Melissa feels like joining and thinks it's a good for her, then absolutely.
Yeah.
So the Moxie is, to boil it down, as small as you can get it. It's a local currency for local businesses, and it gives you an advantage over any of the big box stores, online places to shop, and other people in your community that do what you do. So I'm more willing to drive past a restaurant to pay my Moxie at Wardo's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm more willing to shop at GoMart with my Moxie than to pay cash for gas and snacks at another convenience store.
Yeah.
So it gives people a competitive advantage, which I love, and it gives them a sense of community. And when you boil it all down, it's just, for lack of a better term, it's really neat.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it, is I'm connecting people that may never do business with each other on a normal basis, but now they're having this connection, this moxie, this sense of community.
Yeah. And the great thing is that it's not just we're not contained to just the Miss Lou network either. We're able to spend Moxie with any network. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
There are thousands of barter networks all over the world. There's
Yeah.
one in Italy. There's one in London. There's one in Toronto. There's an international reciprocal trade group that we're actually a part of.
Okay.
The Moxie network is kind of centrally located in the southeast. We go from Biloxi to Birmingham to there's one about to be starting in Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
all over Louisiana, one in Memphis. So the
Yeah.
Moxie network can be centrally, regionally located. You go to Baton Rouge for a football game, you use Moxie down there at one of their restaurants.
Yeah.
It helps you save cash. In the same way, you can look up on the Moxie directory and say, I want to go on a vacation, and you can use your Moxie dollars with a member that lives in New Orleans but has a cabin in Pigeon Forge.
Yeah.
So you're not restricted. We have reciprocal agreements every once in a while that'll have a cruise that'll pop up that say you can use Moxie dollars and go on a cruise. So it's not restricted to here, but the reality is 95% of your Moxie that you do spend will be local.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. So you have the option to go, but you're really going to stay here with a lot of it.
Yeah. Okay. And the way that it could really benefit a business owner is you were kind of explaining to me about tables in a restaurant. If it's a Monday night and the tables in the restaurant aren't full, well, they're losing money because that table's not being used. The way the servers are losing money, the owners are losing money, everybody involved is losing money, and that Moxie it's not meant to replace cash. It's just that extra. If I've got Moxie and there's 5 restaurants that take Moxie, and it's a Tuesday night, I'm gonna go to one of those places.
Correct.
And I'm gonna sit in one of those seats, and I'm gonna treat 4 people or whatever. Or I'm gonna bring a group of people, and not everybody's even on Moxie.
Correct.
So that's what Sam was telling me. He was like, we got people that come eat lunch and stuff like that, but they'll bring their office with them. And he said it just gets people in our restaurant.
There's a couple different phases of the benefits and features of Moxie.
Mm-hmm.
One of them you explained very well is that a restaurant has a certain inventory, which is their tables.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say they have 20 tables and they're open for dinner on a Wednesday night for 4 hours. They want to turn those tables over 2 or 3 times. Their inventory that night would be 40 tables. They want to seat 40 sets of people at their tables. Each table is going to have a certain amount of dollars that they spend, an average ticket. Well, if you're only seating 30 tables that night, Moxie people can come in there and sit at a couple of tables and essentially make you more money. You've got your 30 cash paying tables and you've got 2 or 3 Moxie paying tables. At the end of the night, you've made more money.
Yeah.
So the benefit on the front end,
people are still tipping. Yeah,
absolutely. Just for a reference,
their servers are happy. Yeah,
our Moxie members last year tipped over $30,000 to Moxie servers, which have nothing to do with Moxie. They just want to wait on another table per shift.
Yeah,
1 or 2 more tables. And 30 grand is a decent amount. It's a good amount of money. If you have inventory like a storage unit facility, and not every unit is rented out. If you own a bouncy house company and every inflatable is not blown up every weekend, you're not maximizing your income.
Yeah.
That's the first benefit, is new business. Second benefit is now you've got this currency that you can spend with other local members. Where am I paying for my pest control? Where am I paying for my veterinarian services? And anything that you're already paying cash for that you can convert to Moxie is now ultimately going to save you money and keep more money in your bank account.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I really like, is that it's got the initial feel-good factor of, oh, I just got a new customer. But the real financial and other best part about it is now I'm saving money by using Moxie.
Yeah, you're saving your actual cash flow. Yeah, Sam was telling me that he's had, tons of electrical work done. He's really good friends with his Moxie electric guy. I think he said he pays for his dumpsters every week through Moxie now. So he was saying, he said, I use it a lot on things that I was having to spend cash on. People come here to eat that wouldn't come here. They pay me Moxie, and then I turn around and pay the dumpsters with Moxie. So it works out, And
it's a very beneficial network in a lot of ways. But one thing I truly like is that I can sign up the dumpster company and I can sit there and talk to Sam and Jane and say, hey, I see you have a waste management dumpster, but we just signed up a dumpster company. If you want to switch, I can save you money. Yeah. And immediately they know I've brought value to them.
Yeah.
And they especially basically say, well, you work for us, Rick.
Yeah.
And it took me off guard one day when they said that I don't punch a clock and I don't show up to their building every day, but essentially I do work for all 460 of our members because I'm a vessel for them. I'm a connector for them. I'm a resource.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love being that go-to person for a lot of these things. And when I can see that I bring value to this company, especially on things that don't make them money, we'll never have Cisco or US Foods, but anytime I can save them money on their AC or their painting or their striping of their parking lot, then I know I've saved them cash.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think that we like we said off camera, we could talk about it for, hours, but hopefully I think that's enough to kind of pique people's curiosity, to see if they're interested or not. I wanted to just share it, get it out there to people because I want to see this town succeed. I want to see this community succeed. We're the Miss Lou champions here. And I don't look at Natchez and Vidalia, Faraday or whatever. I look at it as the Miss Lou. If I want this place to, I don't care about growth. I just want us to succeed. Sure. I want us to grow, but I want us to be quality. And I want all the businesses to do well and everybody to be happy, just a quality of life around here. So this is a great opportunity for me to share information with people that could help them. And they may say, hey, it's not for me, and that's okay.
Right.
That's not a big deal either. But I'm always trying to share information that, could help somebody.
Absolutely.
Potentially. So in saying all that, how could somebody out there that's watching get in touch with you to learn more if they've got questions? I'm sure that, there's people that we didn't cover everything.
Right.
So if they want to learn more, or if they say, hey, I'd like to become a part of the Miss Lou Moxey team, how would they get in touch with you and do that?
Our website is moxeyusa.com.
Okay.
You can also go to moxeynila.com, but you can also look on download our app on your phone, or go to our directory on the website. You don't have to be a member to see all the people that we have in our network, and see the types of businesses that we have, and the categories, and the number of businesses that we have. If your business is able to expand just a small percentage, if you're a little uncomfortable, if you're nervous about some certain things where Moxey can maybe help your financial situation, absolutely give us a call. They can reach out to you. They can go by Wardo's and say, who's the Moxey guy? And they'll know how to get in touch with me. My number is 318-545-2450. I'm available about 23 hours of the day. I say Moxey doesn't sleep, but I'm always, we're always, a fluid network where some members either close their business or move. We're adding new businesses all the time. Sam or Jane or Brad or Emma or Matthew will come up to me and say, hey, do we have such and such in the network? And if we don't, then that tells me to go out there and maybe find a member for them to help them with their Moxey purchases. So our website, you can download the app, you can call me, you can call you. I'm all over Facebook and Instagram as well, promoting our members and seeing what we can do to help them out. So easy to find. And I've never had a question that I couldn't answer with an honest answer. If you're a one-man show or a one-woman show and you're completely busy all the time you want to be and your work-life balance is perfect, then Moxey's not for you. But if you have the ability to grow a little bit and expand your business and have us help you do certain things that you may not have the time for, then give us a call.
And I would put my number on there, but if you saw my phone every day, I think everybody's got it already. It never stops. But I'm all good with that. If any of you guys want to reach out to me, I'd be glad to get you in touch with Rick or answer any questions that I may be able to answer. So, man, I appreciate you coming in.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
I know it's every time you come, it rains. I'm starting
to think we need to do something different.
That's right, man. But I appreciate you driving in, and we'll have to go to some LSU baseball games, and they're going to have a good year this year.
They got some high expectations.
They definitely have some high expectations.
They'll be a fun team to watch, and I've talked to Jay Johnson several times, and he's very similar in Skip, where he has a process and a system, and he's got a good group of guys and used the portal very well. So we're excited. The entire LSU baseball community is ready for a lot of good things.
Yeah, I have a feeling me and you and our buddy Tom probably be down there in a few of them.
Sounds great.
So, I hope you guys learned something today. I hope you learned something about LSU, about Rick. Those are always fun conversations just to have, to kind of reminisce. I hope you learned something about Moxey if you're a small business owner. I hope it's something that that you'll look into, see if it's for you or see if it's not. It's okay either way. I want to say thank you to all of our partners, including Moxey, who help make these kind of conversations happen. And just thank you for watching, and God bless, and have a champion day.
Hey y'all, it's Juliana Wallace, and if you like what we're doing here at Mr. Champion Spotlight, make sure to like, follow, and share on all of our social media platforms. It costs you nothing, and it helps us continue to spread positivity all throughout the Miss Lou.